Hello everyone, welcome back to the Tech Sharmit podcast. Today I'm here with another special guest, Aileen Wynne, who is speaking with us from Ireland as an IBM Champion and WIT Stream Chair for GSE UK Conference. She has made a remarkable contribution to the tech industry, particularly in the world of mainframes. So, today in this episode, we will talk about her journey in the tech and also about her passion for mainframe and IBM technologies. But before we start the discussion, I would like to thank Aileen for joining us today in this episode. And now I request you to please initiate the discussion by telling us something about yourself.
Thanks a million, Amit. I am so delighted to be here. It's such an honor to be included in a podcast with so many other great speakers that you've had on in the past. And I know you're going to have more in the future. It's really, really nice. So thank you very much for including me. So as you said, my name's Aileen Wynne. I have been a mainframe systems programmer for the last over 25 years with AIB, which is one of the largest banks in Ireland. So as part of that, I get to do really fun stuff on the ZOS team. As a result of working for them, I've also been able to get involved with GSE UK, initially going to the conference as a delegate for my education, but later on I have become one of the team members in the organisation of the conference, and I now chair the Women in IT stream and I co-chair the network stream there. So that's how I've ended up doing that. I've also been lucky in that I've become a fellow of the Irish Computer Society over here, which
Okay.
is kind of a little sister to the British Computer Society. They were the same until the early 80s, and then Ireland broke away to be a society within itself. So that's who I am.
Okay, all right. So let's initiate the discussion by your journey into the industry. So could you please tell us a bit about your professional journey, like how has your father influenced your the shape of your career and your views for the IT industry?
So I love that you ask how my father shaped it, in that it was my mother who chose my computer course in college. My mother was
Okay.
the one who decided when I got a place in university that I was going to do computer science
Mm-hmm.
as part of a general science degree. And I hated it, absolutely hated my subject. Loved the university, loved my college life, came out of university going, I am never going to work with computers. I am never working for a bank, and I'm never getting married. Um,
Okay.
None of that worked out for me in the end. One of the reasons I think I hated computers so much was I knew from a very early age that my father worked in computers. When I was born, he was a bank clerk. When I was baptized a week later, he was a systems analyst, and he'd worked worked for the bank in computing all my life up until I was in university. At that time, about 2 weeks in, when we were getting the what is a computer talk, one of the guys in the class, there was about 120 of us in the class, it was a decent size, asked, what's the story with these mainframe things? And the lecturer responded that, oh, they've been around a long time, but everything is going distributed. The last mainframe is going to be powered off on the something of April 1996, which is a few
Okay.
years ahead at the time. And I kind of went, I didn't feel that that was right, because I knew that's what my dad was working on, and it didn't look like it was shutting down. Um, as it happened, obviously we were right. The mainframe is still very, very much an integral part of IT infrastructure throughout the world today. So yeah, so mom had an influence in what I did in college, and I hated it. And then my dad had an influence in what I did later on, because I came out of college going, I'm never working with computers. I worked as a nanny. I worked in a factory. I did a number of other things first. I tried to go back to college to become a primary school teacher, which I
Okay.
have no idea what I was thinking. Um, and then I ended up having some medical issues. And I also realized I wanted a job where I was going to have decent maternity leave and decent pension and decent prospects. And so I started
Mm-hmm.
applying to banks and insurance companies and the civil service. And thankfully, I got the opportunity to work for the bank. They put me in the mainframe networking team with Andy Johnson and Gary Barscale and Luke Tyrrell. And it was initially very overwhelming because it was the first job I'd ever had that I didn't really know what I was doing. And 2 weeks in, I still hadn't a clue what I was doing.
Okay.
And thankfully, I was at coffee with another lady who was working with us, who's become a great mentor and friend of mine and a
Hmm.
huge inspiration. And that's Kira O'Connor. And she said to me, look, give it about 6 months because you're doing okay. It's just there's an awful lot to learn. Give it 6 months and see how you go.
Okay.
And I reckon you'll be fine. And within about 5 months, things started to fit into place. And I went, I have found my life. I have found my niche. And I just fell in love with the mainframe from then. And
Okay.
yeah, I just love it. I think it's brilliant.
Okay.
So yeah.
And if we talk about the IBM Champion program involvement, so how has your involvement in IBM Champion program and the mainframe community enriched your life outside the work? Because we all know that it is a prestigious title, though how it impacted your journey.
I was so honored and so delighted to be asked to go for the IBM champion. Ronald Dalton in IBM Ireland suggested it to me, and about 2 days later, I was talking to Sherry Kira as well. So from working in AIB and getting involved in GSE and the work that I do with GSE, and also I do a lot of I've joined WITS Ireland, which is again another women in IT group. Um,
Yeah.
and throughout that, I do as much as I can. I try and tell people IT is absolutely a viable career for anybody, male, female, or
Correct.
otherwise. I'm conscious that there is a deficit in women joining the industry as well as going further into the industry. There aren't as many women as there are. There's a pretty big gender imbalance, and a lot of it is young girls getting turned off. So I'm very conscious that it's important that we bring that back and we try and give back to the community. And Mainframe is very much a community. There's so many people out there that want other mainframers to succeed. There's a lot of people who've been around a long time recognizing the fact that there was a chunk of time in the 90s where they stopped hiring altogether.
Correct.
And even when they started rehiring, there is a large gap in knowledge and things like that, which we need to fill. So work has been done in the last 10, 15 years to address that gap.
Hmm.
And that's really important. And I think being part of the IBM Champion community helps in that so many people in the community, everyone is willing to go out and advocate for the mainframe and for Linux One, advocate for people coming into the industry and helping anybody that they can. That's the other thing. More experienced people are always willing to talk to less experienced people. And the thing is that no matter how experienced you are, you can learn something from new people. Some years ago, we had a graduate come in to work with us. And at that time, we were looking at a user came up and they said they were having a particular problem. And we were all scratching our heads and going, it was it was odd. Something was going wrong in TSO. And this graduate turned around and went, oh, have you looked at X, Y, and Z? And we're
Hmm.
kind of going, no. So our new graduate, literally in the place about a month, resolved the issue, even
Yes.
though there was probably 150, 200 years worth of experience looking at it, going, we've never seen this. But he did. So it's brilliant to be able to learn from young people. And it's good that
Yes.
we're open to helping anybody and everybody come into the industry. And I think that's very much what the community is about. And that's very much what IBM Champion is about. It's bringing more people into the community and helping people realize that actually mainframe exists. It's important, slightly on the invisible side.
Hmm.
Not a lot of people necessarily know about it, but once they find out about it, it's such a fascinating ecosystem. It's just such an amazing platform.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Okay. And like you have been also instrumental in initiatives like Women in IT stream at GSE
Mm.
UK Conference. So what motivated you to start this particular area to start with this particular area, and what impact has it all on the community around you?
So when I started in IT a long, long time ago, my father influencing me said, as soon as I joined the bank, he said, right, join the Irish Computer Society and join WITS Ireland. And I joined the
Okay.
Irish Computer Society. And I didn't join Wits Ireland at the time because I didn't see a problem. Where I was working, my dad had always had women in the area working with him. There was many women around me. There were women management within the IT side in particular. There was quite a few women who were managers. I could see people being promoted throughout maternity leave before and after. So
Mm-hmm.
I didn't see what the issue was. Fast forward now, at the same time when I was going to training in the UK, I was usually the only female on the course. I was also a lot younger than everybody else for a couple of years. Then IBM opened a centre in Eastern Europe and started sending trainees from that centre over. And suddenly there was other women on the course, which was brilliant. Again, as I say, this is probably 20 years ago. But we could see that there were more women coming into the industry. It was interesting not having other women on training courses with me, but it was like that was fine. I enjoyed myself. There's only going to be 10 or 15 people on a training course anyway, so I didn't see the whole disparity. It wasn't quite as obvious to me. But at GSE a number of years ago, I was talking to the students because we have
Okay.
quite a number of students coming in from a number of universities like Bedfordshire, Wolverhampton, and so on. And some of the young ladies were saying that they were finding it intimidating, and it kind of concerned them that there were so few women at the conference.
Mm-hmm.
And we were kind of discussing maybe it'd be a good idea to have something dedicated to that. So myself and another friend brought the idea of a women in IT stream to the committee. Now, we
Okay.
very specifically, because GSE UK is a very technical training conference, and that's the only place people like me are going to get our training, because we don't really need full courses anymore. We've been around a long time. We just need to know what's new, what's coming in.
Yes.
So because of that, because we don't want to take training time away from anybody either. So what we've done with the with stream at GSE UK is we've very definitely made it a mini stream, so to speak. So
Mm-hmm.
we have a talk, we may have a panel discussion, and it gets the conversation going, and it gives people something to talk about. And it also
Yes.
brings the women together to an extent. Now, the other thing that started a couple of years ago, it started just because there was a few of us standing at a booth going, and one of the women talking realized that there was 4 women from 4 different companies standing at a booth in GSE, and that when she first started going to GSE, that would never have happened. And 2 seconds later, a couple of friends of ours came over. So suddenly we had 6 women from 4 different companies at a booth.
Yeah.
And like, oh my God, we have to get a photograph of this. And I kind of went, I saw Michelle Harris out of the corner of my eye and I went, oh, we should get Michelle in. And that ended up with me running around the room, gathering all the women in the room together. And we got a photograph of about 25, 30 women. And so last year, or the year before last, we had another photograph. And last year, so GSE just gone 2024, we had about 65 of us in the photograph. And that's just some of the women, because no matter what time you do it, you're going to miss some people.
Mm-hmm.
So we're now making sure to get that photograph, just as it's a nice graphic way to show how many women are at the conference and that it's growing. So it
Yes.
used to be that there was about 13% of women about 10 years ago, and we got to just over 20% women at the conference this year. So I thought that was pretty cool.
Okay. So as we are talking about women in the IT industry, so being a woman and a great leader in the IT industry, what you think, like there are what kind of biggest barriers women face in this industry, and how can those barriers we can overcome by the time?
So there's a lot of barriers, but at the same time, I think a lot of the barriers are for anyone new to an industry, in that you're coming into a new industry. There's a lot of jargon. There's a huge amount of learning. And if that intimidates you,
Mm-hmm.
break it down bit by bit. The thing is that it's really important to know that you can talk to the more senior people. Like, mainframers like talking about mainframe. We love sharing our knowledge. We love helping people and teaching them what we know. We're
Yes.
also very conscious that no matter how much we know, we don't know everything. We might
Correct.
be absolutely expert at something, but we're not going to be expert at the thing beside it. Like there's so much to learn. It's one of the joys, the great joys of being in Mainframe is that no matter how good I get, no matter how much I know, I'm always going to be learning. I'm always going to find new things.
Yeah.
It's a continual cycle. And I think that's really important to be aware of that and to be comfortable with that. Um, there's obviously the there's a lot of perceived issues about being a woman in technology. And some of it, you're told, oh, there's a lot of problems. In general, most of the people that you're working with, first of all,
Hmm.
gender should be irrelevant. Um, can you do the job? Does it work right for your brain? That's the thing that should be important. And I think in the bubble I've lived in, that's been the important thing. I
Okay.
do see people having issues with sexism, with racism, with many things, and people talking down to them. And the thing is that that kind of behavior is not acceptable.
Correct.
Um, part of it is you need to be able to call that out. I think it's really important that you believe in yourself, that you get yourself a mentor, you get yourself sponsorship. So there is a difference between them. Um, I think getting somebody a sponsor is more somebody in authority who can maybe help you advance your career, but a mentor is somebody who can provide advice and feedback, um,
Correct.
and coach your mentee to help them progress their career, um, or in other aspects of your life as well. And I think it's really important to find yourself mentors, not necessarily one mentor all the time. Like I have many mentors, some of
Yeah.
whom may or may not know that they're a mentor to me. They may or may not know that they inspire me and that they have helped me in the past. And then many people, obviously, you know, you can ask somebody to be your mentor. You can
Correct.
also reach out to people on LinkedIn and ask them if they can help you and if they can give you advice and if they know if they can assist you in any way. So I think that's I think that that's kind of some of the barriers and how to overcome them. Um, like, and I think for those of us that are more experienced, let's reach out to others. Let's bring people in and be welcoming and welcome questions. You
Okay.
know.
Yeah. Okay, all right. Okay, so let's say, Ellen, like someone wanted to start their career in IT industry, especially the young women, and they are considering a career in STEM or IT. So, what advice would you give them based on your journey? Like, yes, these are some essential thing that they can follow in order to be a part of this industry.
So many things you can do. First of all, if you have an idea of what you would like to do, find
Mm-hmm.
somebody who's got that type of a job on LinkedIn or in another network community that you're a part of and reach out to them. Don't be afraid to reach out and ask people questions. I
Okay.
think that there's an awful lot of free training materials for people who want to do mainframe specifically. Um,
Mm-hmm.
for other platforms and other aspects of IT as well. Things like the IBM Skills Depot is phenomenal, has so much there, has a number of different career paths that you can choose, and it can give you training specific to that. You've got Dynaframe IO by Emma Scosvard, which is phenomenal.
Yeah.
Some really nice little videos there. You've got the GSE UK YouTube channel. And one of the amazing things with that, there's a 101 stream there. So for beginners and basic stuff, but there's also a lot more technical, more advanced training as you go on. There's a lot of the virtual sessions that were done and the virtual conferences are online there and they're freely available. They're absolutely brilliant.
Yeah.
There's also podcasts like yourself and Tish Talks Tech. You
Mm-hmm.
also have things like Terminal Talks and mainframe performance topics, and I'm a mainframer. So they're all great ways to get information in and to learn a bit about, uh, you know, that's the mainframe industry. There are equivalents for other industries. The other thing is that I think it's really important to be aware it's not all coding, because a lot of people think that, oh, you work in IT, you must code. My job title is mainframe systems programmer. I actually do a very little coding. I install and upgrade and maintain the operating system and a number of different software products. So I don't do a huge amount of coding. If I do, it's a bit of Rex or it's tweaking an assembler program. I've never written one from scratch. I tweak it.
Okay.
And then obviously I'm using JCL. Whereas an application developer will be coding using whatever language. But you also have people in the business side of things, in the marketing side of things. You've got project managers that don't do coding. So I think it's really important to be aware that there's such a wide, vast array of careers that you can have, be it mainframe, be it tech. And I think it's kind of important that we talk about them as well a little bit, because they're kind of overlooked and people just see work in IT coding. That's not really the case. So
Okay. All right. Okay. And like you have already given the clarity, and you have introduced the things related to the mainframe, but still like there might be some doubt, or what I personally believe, like mainframes are often underappreciated despite their importance. So what's the key misconception you would like to clear about the mainframe here?
I think it's not so much the mainframe is dead. The mainframe is invisible because
Okay.
the mainframe powers such a huge amount of
Mm-hmm.
really, really important infrastructure. Like 70% of Fortune 500 companies run on mainframe still.
Correct.
People perform about 37 transactions daily on their mobile banking platforms, and 91% of their apps communicate via the mainframe. That's a lot.
Yes, it's
I think it's 4 out of the 6 biggest airlines in the world still run on mainframe. Again, that means that anytime, almost anytime you book a plane ticket or you run mobile bank, you're using mainframe. But the vast majority of the population don't realize that. So I think it's really important to remember that. The thing is that like, mainframe is really intergenerational. It's been around, it's 60 years old last April. Okay.
yeah.
It's going to be there in another 60 years' time. It may not look and feel and smell the same as the mainframe does right now.
Yes, it
But then
might
again,
modified.
the digital watch that you got when you were a child is not like the smartwatch that you're wearing on your wrist right now.
Correct. Yeah.
It still tells the time. It still probably has a light on it. It can still do an alarm, which is probably all it could do when you were a child. But now it can measure your heart and it can do your banking applications and it can do what, do you know what I mean? It
Correct.
grows and changes and it transforms into what the business needs. And the beauty of it is IBM are always looking at the mainframe, the next one, and the one after that. They usually have three generations in production at any given time, and the operating system and the software is the same. So this is not something that's transient. It is becoming better and able to deal with cloud and AI, and they're now becoming part of the infrastructure of the mainframe platform. But mainframe it's just there. And I think on the one hand, I used to think if I'm doing my job properly, nobody knows I exist. Let's stay invisible. Let's stay in the background because we're keeping things up. But now I've realized that actually we kind of need to tell people that we are here and that we are,
Yes.
you know, keeping the banking systems up, keeping healthcare alive. We are underpinning large governmental organizations and large insurance companies because nobody learns. Sorry, it's not nobody learns this in school. There are some colleges that are teaching mainframe now. There are some amazing apprenticeship programs for mainframe. And it is, I think there is a resurgence in it. And I think we just need to shout that very loudly and keep it going because it's still extremely reliable. It is the most securable platform on the planet as long as you use your security tools. It is reliable, it is scalable. So it's here to stay. And I
Yes.
think that's the common misconception is, oh, I don't know, but it's definitely here.
Okay, thank you so much, Ellen, for giving this such a clarity example. Like you have presented everything with a clarity that everyone, even if someone has not started their career, they can also understand that no, it is not going somewhere. It is still in market, and like it is beneficial for every organization who are utilizing it. So that's a great thing. Okay, so
Yeah.
fine. let's talk a bit about the influences and the mentors in your life. So because we all know like you have been playing a role of mentor for many of us, right? But who are some of the people you credit as a key influence in your professional growth, and what unique qualities did they bring to your journey?
There are so many people who have mentored me and helped me along the way.
Mm-hmm.
This is a slightly terrifying question because if I name people, I'm going to leave people out. And I don't want to offend or upset anyone. And I'm conscious that, like, right now at this very second, there's a group of people that I work with in
Correct.
the bank, and they're amazing, and they've all helped me in so many ways. I think it's really important to say Ciara O'Connor is probably my first mentor,
Okay.
because without her and Paul O'Neill, I would have run away with my head between my tail or my tail between my legs, going, I can't do this. I can't do this. Mainframe is too hard. But actually, it's not. It's just you have to accept the fact that it takes a while to learn it, and you're never going to know everything. Once
Correct.
you realize it's okay not to know everything, you'll be fine. Auntie Johnson and Linda Byrne were two other people that were instrumental at the very beginning of my career. Mark Wilson of for Italy, an amazing mentor and an amazing influence. He's one of the few people I know that will espouse Mainframe more enthusiastically than me. He makes me look like I kind of think it's all right. He's just like phenomenal. And then there's the whole team at GSE. They're amazing. Angie and Niall is my chair in the
Yeah.
network stream. We've had amazing speakers in the WITS stream, and again, they're also mentors and people that I want to be them. They're just really cool, like Marna Wally and Anna Shugal, Gillian Arnold, um, Meredith Stoll. There's too many to name without like missing out on people. And then of course you've got the IBM Champion guys. So you've got like Sherry Kira, you've got Darren, you've got Libby, Niall Ashley is amazing, Ricky West. There's
Yeah.
just so many amazing people out there. So yeah, I'm kind of scared that I'm going to miss everybody. But yeah,
Okay. Yeah, I can understand. Like,
so
it's
many
not that
people.
easy to take all those names. Yeah.
There's a lot of names. There's an awful lot. There's one guy that I'm still working with who um used to work with my dad, and
Okay.
he has given me so much help, and he's such an inspiration to like everybody that we work with. The guy called Gary Carroll, he's just phenomenal. Another like amazing guy, so generous with his knowledge. So yeah, there's too many to name. I'm going to stop now because it's just too many, and I'm sorry to everyone that I didn't mention.
Okay. All right. So, yeah, like, although we have many things to discuss, but just because of the limitation of time, I would like to ask my last question, which is related to your hobbies, because we all know that technical things you are doing lots of technical thing, right? You are playing a role of IBM champion, and many other commitments are there. So, apart from this, like, what all hobbies or activities do you enjoy outside of your work that keeps you motivated and recharged all the time?
So my father used to laugh when I'd say genealogy and family history is a hobby. He reckons it was the second job because I spent so much time in it, and I've ended up getting qualifications in it. I completed a master's in history of family last year, and I'm now on the register of qualified genealogists. So, is that a hobby? Is that a second job? That's a good question.
Okay.
It's something I love and I spend time at, and I'm a member of a number of genealogy and historical organizations as part of that. You can see behind me, I quite like to read, and I have an awful lot of
Yes.
history books and a lot of I know there's a lot of Stephen King that's visible, but I like to read, and I like to I like walking, and I've gotten into yoga in the last few years, which I really love as well. Um,
Okay.
so yeah, that's kind of the things that I like to do. If
Yeah.
I if I'm not playing with the mainframe, I'm usually trying to hunt dead people and but but find some interesting records. Another thing you'll never know everything about.
Okay. All right. So thank you so much, Ellen, for joining us in this episode and for sharing so much expertise related to mainframe and about your professional journey. It was nice talking to you, and thank you once again for being a part of this show.
Thank you so much for having me. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.